hello. It is Wednesday and it's time for Pop and Politics. We are live talking about the latest in hot topics, news, and entertainment. I'm KJ and let me introduce you to my co-hosts. We have everybody here today. We have Shelly E, T, Crystal, and Yana. All right. Join the conversation by leaving a comment on YouTube or Twitter. We will check the comments periodically throughout the show. And don't just comment, subscribe. Subscribe to our social media so you always know when we post new content. You can also check us out on our website at www.popandpoliticslive.com for up-to-date information. We are a necessary voice in news and entertainment. All right, ladies, let's set it off. I want to talk to you guys about tolerance. So, we are all on we're conservatives. We are all conservatives and all on the conservative end of the spectrum. And I want to talk about how we as conservatives, actually as Republicans, have handled the issue of tolerance. Has tolerance gotten conservatives in trouble? So I want to start off with you, Shelly. What are your thoughts there?
We're talking about tolerance, and I would say in general, yes. I think tolerance, or this idea of tolerance, has gotten conservatives in trouble. My main reason for saying that is that I think that no one really knows what tolerance means anymore. So there are no distinctions that are being made to even define what side of tolerance any of us is on. So I think that's the larger issue, or that's, I think, one of the main reasons why it's gotten conservatives in trouble.
Okay. I want to get your thoughts on this, Yana. I mean, how do you feel about conservatives' intolerance? Have we been too tolerant?
Oh, absolutely. I think that we do not know what the principles are. We do not know, I'm sure many people do, but as a whole, like just observing Americans, conservatives, because we're trying to have this big tent and trying to win elections, that we are forgetting what our goals and principles are.
Okay. What about you, T? Has tolerance gotten the conservative side in trouble?
Yes, because people are weak. They don't know how to stand up for themselves. What's that saying? If you don't stand for something, you can fall for anything. And they're falling because they're weak as F.
Okay. And Crystal, what are your thoughts? Same question. Has tolerance gotten conservatives in trouble?
Yeah, I'll piggyback on what T said. Like, they keep moving the goalposts. So as a conservative, when you see, or even just as a person, you are being tolerant, right? There's nothing wrong with tolerance. There's nothing wrong with saying, okay, you do this, you do your thing, I do my thing, and then we all, just kind of separate each other. When you see that person start encroaching and breaking the rules, at what point, and it's been how many years now with conservative, like at one point you say, whoa, I've been tolerant all this time, and you keep moving the goalposts, and you keep doing more than what we said and what we agreed upon, and that's never okay.
So I want to follow up, because everyone has said that tolerance, we're too tolerant on the conservative side, but that is not what we're painted as in the media and amongst the Democrats. We're painted as being intolerant. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts to that, Shelly?
So I want to go back to when I commented that no one knows what tolerance means largely anymore, at least this concept of tolerance. And tolerance really means giving some leeway, if you will. Particularly, it works best on a micro level. And when I say micro level, I mean within our personal relationships, within families and friends. Because no two individuals are the same. No two groups are going to have the same ideas on every concept. They're certainly not going to agree. So tolerance works best on a micro level. On a macro level, tolerance really doesn't work. What we need on a macro level are the structural things that are in place that holds the society and maybe even the community together. So So this idea of tolerance, if we take it to a macro level, we can look, an example that comes to my mind is our Lady Justice. She has the two scales, she's balancing them, right? So in a court of law or in the macro level, we're balancing our groups, we're balancing our ideas, and we get to play them out in the court of public opinion, if you will. So that's why I say that really no one really knows what tolerance means anymore. So we think it means accepting and agreeing with everything and everybody. It does not.
Mm-hmm. Well, going back to the question about Democrats saying that we're intolerant, that's because that's their strategy.
Yep.
Their strategy is to diminish our word and to censor us because they know that we are really truth, the people of truth, and they want to distract from the truth.
Well, I want to talk about, when we do talk about macro level intolerance, because one thing, a lot of people say about libertarians, for instance. So, you have this mindset of, limited government, of course, and to each his own. You don't tread on me, I won't tread on you. You do whatever you want, as long as it doesn't encroach on my rights, my life, then I don't really care. But hasn't that kind of gotten us, that attitude, at least on the right, kind of gotten us in trouble when you talk about that? So we went, like with education, you talk about how let them teach what they want to teach, or let them do what they want to do, as long as it doesn't encroach on my rights. But now we have these teachers pushing LGBT, gender identity in schools.
Absolutely.
Exactly. I mean, that's what I wanted to bring up, is where we can see that we can't really separate ourselves from the rest of society, and that when the Democrats are saying that we are the ones who are intolerant, well, the Republicans and the conservatives, they're trying to, for example, they're trying to remove sexually explicit books from school curriculum, and for that we are told that we are intolerant and that we want to ban books. Like, that is we don't actually. They're the ones who are banning Gone with the Wind, or To Kill the Mockingbird. Like, they're trying to ban classics. We're just trying to remove the sexual explicit material from schools, and there is their strategy to say, oh, they're being intolerant. Well,
Absolutely.
We're just trying to protect the children.
Absolutely. And I think that conservatives, for whatever reason, haven't felt the galls or the I don't know what you call it, like the oomph, the courage to push back. Yeah, yes. To push back and relentlessly push back, like almost like somebody is telling you that it's dark outside, and you see that it's light, and you almost like they're trying to make us think that we're crazy. Like, they're literally.
That's an important point as well. With this, again, I'm calling this micro macro collision, if you will. Whereas when there are, again, the structures in place, there's light, there's dark, there's night, there's day. So the problem with the Democrats or the left, they want us to change all of society to not only to conform to their lunacy, they want us to actually believe their lunacy. So that is where it gets into, actually, they're the intolerant ones, where if you have quote unquote tolerance working, if you want to call it working well, again, we all acknowledge, or we should be able to all acknowledge, that we have competing goals, competing ideals, competing thoughts about what's supposed to happen, particularly in government, and we're using our taxpayer money. Well, in that sense, as an American experiment, as Americans, even though they're on the left, they do have a right to voice whatever it is that they want in the market, in the public square, right? The thing is that when what they are advocating changes the grounds for maintaining that public square, then we have no public square.
What I hear often from people from the left or Democrats or whoever says, oh, the Republicans don't want to see change. They want things to remain the same as they've always been. And my counter is, that's what's been working. Why would you reinvent the wheel or change, which is what is happening now, and now we have all this confusion. And it started with Obama administration, when he wanted to say, oh, let everybody marry and do whatever they want to do. And it's like, okay, well, let them live. Love is love. Let them live and do. And see, this is where they've gotten us.
Yeah.
Especially in the trans community.
Right. But in the same way, and again, the question was, has tolerance gotten conservatives in trouble? And we are not seeing, I would say or argue, the level of pushback on the conservative side, on the Republican side, that we need to see.
Because
from within,
we don't have it together. And
well, it's the weakness, and I mean, like, let me just bring it to an issue of race. I had a conversation with a few of my friends who can call themselves, libertarian, or they don't pick or choose conservative, but they live their life conservatively, and they're white. And I literally heard them say, "Oh, well, I had to work for everything that I got. My parents were poor. My mother was an alcoholic. I had to struggle. I literally had to work to pay to go to school. I finally went to school. Oh, but I'm privileged because I'm white."
That's what everyone.
And it's like, so my thing is like, you are literally telling yourself this lie, and you're starting to believe it. You literally told me all the things that you did to get there, and then because everybody's telling you're privileged, you'll go against your own convictions and say, but I'm privileged.
Yeah. I mean, that's racism. To go over, like, where's this person privileged? Like,
but that goes back to the lie. The lie.
So basically,
it's hard.
Yeah.
Again, I know I'm not trying to sound intellectual, because that's not what I want people to understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
For any person, certainly a person, but some groups, when you are attached to a group for whatever reason, it is very hard for individuals, certainly, to accept or just to be called names. Yeah. So when you put it in a group, people don't want to be called racist, privileged, and then all of these words are twisted upside down, right? Like I say frequently, I'm privileged. I'm thankful that I'm privileged. I'm an American. I'm a Native American. I was born here, right? I wear and I am grateful for my privilege. No qualms about it. But when you twist that around and it's used pejoratively, then people don't know what to do with that. And most people, as human beings, part of our connections is being connected to a group. So when the group that you're connected to is starting to call you names, then you got some cognitive dissonance to work out within yourself.
Yes. The party is dismantling, and that's why we're in trouble, because we don't have the unity that we're used to having within the party, and it's taken, like, the foundation, and there is no foundation. We don't know what to believe now, because they've infiltrated our principles.
Yeah, I'm a new conservative, and I'm looking at the conservatives now like it's a mess. I wouldn't want to be a part of it.
Well, I mean, we do, and the original factions within the conservative movement, which have always been evangelical. We have libertarians, and your fiscal responsible Republicans. It's all kind of falling apart. And I'll just take an example here of evangelicals. So Catholicism has always been a very core part within the Republican Party. And here we have Pope Francis, who suggested there could be ways to bless same-sex unions. He said this within the news. And, this is... Catholicism has really been the last piece of faith-based religion that has said no to these same-sex couples within a religious basis. And now we have here Pope Francis, who has always come off as kind of the liberal, more liberal, Pope. Is saying this. So again, this is another way, and I want to get you guys' thoughts. Are faith-based institutions, are they becoming too tolerant?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, everything is watered down. And I know, about Catholicism, absolutely. It's very, very watered down. It's really, a lot of times, it's just a name that someone is Catholic, but then they're, they don't follow the principles of Christianity a lot of times, a lot of the Christians, and we kind of lost our goals. And so me as a conservative, I don't know what we are working towards.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I know that Pastor Geno Jennings, he's my pastor. I'm not even Christian, but he's my pastor, and that because he sticks to the word. It's an what you call the word in the Bible, the LGBT.
Inerrant?
No, the
Abomination.
abomination. It's an abomination, and nobody's really preaching that now.
Yeah.
They want to say love is love and Jesus is love, and that's what's messed up, especially in Christianity. That's what's messed up the whole thing.
Yeah, and I tell people like me, like I believe that people have become lovers of themselves, and they're not thinking about what that type of lifestyle represents. And we used to be a Christian nation. Now, mind you, if it were up to me, I don't care what you decide to do with your booty. Like, I really don't. I'm not interested. However, like
or your
when you
tongue.
she had to go there.
I mean, there's two sides of them. It's two separate letters there.
Well,
Yeah.
that's actually something we can actually talk about because, again, we have this idea now, and I'm sorry, but yeah, I mean, the whole idea of, pushing different types of sexuality, sexual, things, within the public sphere.
Yeah.
Again, is whatever you want to do in your bedroom is fine,
Yeah.
but this idea that we have now,
Again.
made it
Right.
mainstream to
Exactly.
talk about
We're
it.
making it the goal, if you will.
Yeah.
And that's where we are pictured as or viewed as intolerant, because it's saying no, like you said, whatever you're gonna do, I'm all for.
Right.
I mean, not for it, but if you're gonna have whatever lifestyle, that's your business as a small L libertarian. As an American, you can make that choice with another, let me say it because I always get called on it, a consenting adult.
Yes.
Okay? Keep your dicks out of children. All right? But if you choose as a for consenting adult, fine. I don't have a problem with that. I don't lose sleep over that. That's where tolerance comes. And I'm not going to be advocating like they do over in Iran for a gay person to be thrown off of a roof or to be buried to his
Why not?
alive.
Oh,
Anyway,
sorry.
I'm not going to be advocating for that. However, as an adult, do what you want to do. But when you come into the public square to say, oh, this is what it should be, then know that I'm also going to show up in the public square and say, no, it should not.
But
Yes.
that's how we got here. To do what you want to do in your bedrooms.
Right.
That's exactly why we're here
So
now,
what
because
would be the
it shouldn't be
alternative to that?
it shouldn't be acceptable because it's an abomination.
What
It's
would-
wrong.
no,
It is not
I got
natural.
that, but what would be a practical, acceptable?
Cut their
Well, this is what that was the point that I was trying to make is that it leads to death. Like sex is enjoyment. However, there is a purpose that comes along
Right.
with it. And so when they are making that the norm as opposed to making
Right.
it private or what I do or the exception or God made me special. I make it whatever you want to make it. But don't make that the norm and be pushing it on children, because in the end it leads to death. And so we have been tolerant and saying, hey, I don't care what you do, but they keep moving the goalposts. Okay, well if it's good what I do, well why can't I tell little Christina about it?
Well, because
yeah.
they changed,
So they can accept
they
it.
changed the principles, and that's what I mean is that we don't know what the goals are, but the goal should be the preservation of family.
Yes.
And
Yes.
we as conservatives, that is something that we should be preserving and speaking for a normal, mother and father, family. That's what we should be striving towards. And so when somebody is advocating for something different, that is actually destroying the country.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And we should be vocal about it.
Well, let's also talk to your vocality. Let's also tell the truth in that they're saying we're intolerant. Ultimately, whether the issue is homosexuality or any other ality or ideology, what conservatives are doing, what we are trying to do, is preserve that which is good for our country.
Absolutely.
So anytime we step to them, right, and push back, we're going to be called intolerant because we're not allowing them to just easily go and implement whatever crap they want.
And why should we care what they say?
Exactly.
That's
what
where
I'm
we're
saying.
getting mixed up, because we're caring what they're saying, and these people are evil.
Yeah.
Why should we
well,
care about evil?
would you
people?
refer-
Well, because there are
fine.
people in our midst
Exactly.
that
That's what I was
are
just about to say.
advocating for these abominations that you have mentioned, and we had some people in our show that have advocated for things like that.
How did it get here? How did we get here?
Wait a minute. That's how we got here.
Well, no, we should, let me answer you, attempt to. We should care in the sense that, again, they are Americans. I'm just talking, broadly speaking. They are Americans. They have every right constitutionally.
Yeah.
That's why we should care. Because what they're advocating, when they have access to the same senators and the Republican bottom
apparently
right now that's in the office, when they have access to them, they put their money up. They have lobbying groups that will lobby the senators and congressmen and representatives that we also have our taxes pay for. So that's why we should care. Follow the money. That's why we should care.
That's also why we got here, because they put their money up. Their money is stronger. Obviously, their dollars are stronger than ours.
Yeah, but I want to go back to something because you brought up a good point.
Uh-oh.
So I don't know if this is what you were talking about, but again, we have talked about this on the show, prostitution, and things like that. Now you do know that you two, advocate for, and maybe I'm not sure if you do too, Crystal, advocate for legalized prostitution. May I finish? I haven't even got the chance to finish yet. Thank you. Yeah, so we have talked about legalized prostitution on the show. So where it's an idea that prostitution, selling of one's body, would be legal. It should not be illegal. And so we have kind of talked about that's kind of like leading us down this slippery slope. The idea of one's body being chattel, being something you can sell. A good, a service.
You gotta wait till she finishes the sentence.
Yeah, so go ahead. Yeah, so
let's correct the terminology first.
Okay.
You said us two, talking about T and myself. We don't advocate for prostitution.
Legal prostitution. I said legal.
We don't advocate for it. Advocating means we're taking active stances outside, whatever, in the public square, saying do this, do this.
Oh, no, What I
have said is that consenting adults can do what in this case, a woman, if she wants to sell her body to make money, fine. I also understand as an American, as an individual, that there are limits to what I or any other American can do to another American who is not doing anything against me or my property or my person. So that's the limit. Advocating is such a misapplied word.
Support.
I don't even necessarily, I'm not going to say I go out and support it. I don't want women to be prosecuted just because a woman is legally or whatever you want to call it, using her body to make a transaction with another consenting adult.
Right.
So, I'm sorry, I'm confused then. I'm confused then. So, do you support legalization of prostitution?
First of all,
it's the oldest job or occupation in the world.
It's a yes or no question.
Do I support
legalized prostitution?
There is no such thing as legalized prostitution.
Except for in Vegas.
Well, so it is.
That's it. Except for in Vegas, yes.
And yes, people can do what they want to do.
I thought on previous shows we had talked about that, and you guys said you do not, you believe that it should not be.
And I said it again.
Illegal. No, it should not be illegal.
I think that
it's not legalized.
I understand what they're saying. They don't want to come across as they're saying, "Hey, this is a very valid form of."
I will.
Yes,
I will come across.
Yeah, I'm not worried about coming across. I'm saying that a woman should not be prosecuted because she is a prostitute.
Are you coming across as advocating? That's what I'm saying.
I started with the definition of advocating.
We
support women selling their bodies.
Yeah.
Okay.
And a transaction between consenting adults.
You ain't gotta say all that.
Yes, we do. That's a big part of it.
So that is advocating.
How did it even turn to this?
It's not advocating.
I don't understand how did it
go ahead, Yana.
Okay, let's use their words. Yes, we're advocating.
We had a guest one time on the show.
Right, that's what I said, because I thought y'all was talking about a guest. And I don't know how you guys are here.
No, but
she's talking about
issue towards for you that we take.
Oh, it is an issue to me.
No, but this is an interesting.
But support me.
I thought we were talking about gay people.
This is an interesting conversation too. I mean,
no, it doesn't actually. But I'm sorry, Yana.
But I was actually saying in not just in our group, but in the Republican Party, what I was saying is that there are people who are way too tolerant towards some of these abominations. So we have had a lady.
Which prostitution is not an abomination, for the record, but.
How is that
But
not
this
an
is what I'm talking about.
abomination?
It's not an abomination.
It is a bar.
Where?
It is
How?
an
When?
abomination.
Where?
Yeah, you see,
Did it literally say
It is
it's an
an
abomination in the Bible?
No,
It is.
Yes, it
Show me where it
is.
says it in the Bible that it's an
Only
abomination.
reason why I
All
brought it
sin
up.
is an
Only reason why I
abomination.
brought it
No,
up
that's
was
not
because
true.
you
And so
was
it's
you
not
mentioned.
That's not true.
It is in the Bible
Yes,
that's
all
an
sin-
abomination.
That's not true.
Abomination.
All sin is not an
I agree.
abomination.
I agree. No, I agree with you.
All sin is not an abomination.
Yes, sin is a abomination is a transgression
So
against
since
God.
we on the chapel hour here, Tina and I are not converted.
Okay.
Well, but is it so? Was it?
What's your point,
Mary
Donna?
Magdalene-
It's not converted.
Mary Magdalene. I mean, she's not considered.
We're not converted. So
lady-
are we gonna keep this chapel
I'm
hour going?
not-
Okay.
No, but someone said. Well, T said that it's not in the. It is in the Bible. That's
She
an
said-
It's not an abomination.
It is any kind of.
It's a sin.
That's not true.
Any
It's a sin.
any sin
Any
is an
sin is
abomination.
not an abomination.
Yeah, so we don't have to. Yeah, we don't have to get into the weeds, but it is an abomination. But what I will say
not.
about them, what I will say about prostitution is the things that come with prostitution.
That's what I said.
That's my issue. So,
What
and like I
things?
said, I do not get to choose it.
What things?
But we are thinking about prostitution. This goes right back to the whole tolerance thing.
That's what I said.
The thing with prostitution is okay, yeah, a woman and a man is transactional. Then the woman and the man is transactional, and then the man start controlling her, and the man start pimping her, and then the man starts killing her.
Macro differences, and I understand that again, as Americans, as individuals, yes, Jan, as individuals, because that's where we get individual liberty from, given by God. There are limits to what any of us can do to two people who are legally consenting to whatever transaction we may disagree with.
I just think.
I
just
realize
think
libertarians are what's wrong with this
I think
thing.
it's
You
too
might say
much
that, but
for a
no.
conservative person to be
But I'm not
so
going to up people for
Well, what's that?
prostituting.
to be so adamant about defending something that destroys society
And community.
So
So,
we were
wait,
just
family.
going back
talking
to-
about goals and
Where does
family.
prostitution destroy? What? It's the oldest thing.
So wait, Crystal was
A
very
woman
radical.
who is prostituting
From
is
saying-
destroying herself, her ability to
herself.
Exactly, herself, and that destroys society.
Herself. Let's
She
say that
has
again.
children.
Yeah,
they
yeah,
have
it does.
children.
No,
Who
no,
growing up
one
in
second.
that environment?
You
We
created
created-
it's a connection. So when
It
you
is
look
a
at
connection.
when you
Connection.
look at-
Crystal
when you-
connected it prostitution to death.
Like what it is, it's a high
How?
rate of
And
it's
there
a
are
high rate of
and
HIV
the thing
and
is,
high
women
rate of-
have
Oh,
kids.
yes.
I need the stats on that.
there's a
What about
high
the
rate
pimps?
of
What
it.
about the pimps who prostitute them? Then where are they coming to?
Well,
They need to go to
support
jail
them too
too.
when you support legal prostitution.
Exactly.
I'm talking about based on her. She's talking about the woman. Where's the man?
Yeah, there's all of it's part of it.
And the- And young
it.
people,
Yeah, there's no pimp
and young
involved
people
in-
are growing up in that environment, and then they grow up tolerating this type of lifestyle, and then it snowballs.
I agree.
Well, we can end
we're
it
not
here, but what
talking-
I was just saying is we're talking about, and we'll talk about this another time. But when you talk about the idea of tolerance within the conservative side, I'm not saying that people don't advocate or support legal prostitution. I wasn't saying that. What I was saying was from the Republican side or conservative side of the aisle, to support legalized prostitution, we have to really take a look at it. You're not just talking about legalized prostitution, because legalized prostitution is anti-family.
I agree.
We are supposed to be a party that is for family.
Also-
we're saying that
also,
Democrat
individual
Party.
rights. I was
We're
gonna
saying
say.
that the Democrat Party is anti-family. So the idea of supporting legalized prostitution, an actual act against the body, and again, prostitution runs neck and neck with human trafficking,
Drugs.
with drug abuse. All of that
Consensual
runs
adults.
hand in. Yes, it is.
Consensual adults.
Yeah, but it destroys communities. Like I
Again,
always like to say, if I would not want my child to do it, then I don't want anybody else's child to do it. And so if I am saying that I'm family, and if I'm saying that I'm for Judeo-Christian values, because as we stated, that's what has made this country
Jesus.
so strong,
Jesus.
then I'm not going to say, oh, it's okay if you prostitute yourself, because it doesn't stop there. That's why it's not. I'm not going to say.
Mentioning.
Wait a minute, let her finish. It doesn't stop there.
It doesn't stop there. Just like I'm not going to say legalize drug, because it doesn't stop there. There are things that are. That's why for a long time it was illegal to even do anal sex, because they knew that those types of things are just a snowball to them wrapping Jesus up in a rainbow flag. I mean, it's just true.
What were you saying, T?
I'm still trying to see Jesus in the rainbow flag, but you started off by saying
that exists already.
The different, I guess, factions within the Republican Party. Evangelicals. There's been a history. Evangelicals, social or fiscally conservative, and I think the other group that you mentioned. So everybody,
libertarians.
Everybody who's a Republican, if you will, is not a Republican for evangelical Christian reasons.
Right.
Some of them are just on principle for what the Republican Party has stood for from when it was founded. And it was not founded to dictate to someone else's whatever their religion, in this case, since we have in chapel hour. It wasn't founded for that, right? But it was founded, like he said, also on individual rights. So family is one of the principles, and so are individual rights. Again, I also earlier said we seem to have, not here, but we have competing factions or maybe goals, and none of us can dictate as a Republican what those goals are that'll have more priority to you, even on the conservative side is what I'm saying.
Well,
So
the founding fathers could not imagine to what degree the tolerance was going to get
I would agree with you there.
So they were not expecting people to completely forget about God.
Okay.
And not have a religion altogether.
I get that, but it was also possible.
I'm
sure that founding fathers was having prostitutes.
And all
sure
founding fathers
prostitutes.
were religious, and they belonged to a church. So, and they just didn't expect. And in fact, they have said that the Constitution was written for
a moral people,
for
but they
moral
also
and,
did not
and
people,
religious
had to be,
people
of a religion. That was also purposefully excluded from being written into dictate.
There was freedom of choosing your religion, but
there you go. You didn't have to have one,
but you have to no. In fact, they were
you
all.
did not have to have one.
They all had a religion.
You did not.
At the time, that was not even an option.
Wait.
They wrote it into our, or they didn't write it, I should say, into our Constitution, Your Honor. They did not write that every American must have a religion, or certainly not Christianity. They did not write that in our Constitution.
So that's what I mean. We have a conservative person who is advocating for lack of religion, and that is the problem that we have in society.
Why?
And that is why we're breaking. This is what the degradation means. That is a decay. That what does it have? What
you don't need religion to have morals.
No mandate.
You don't need religion to have morals.
Well, what else drives your moral?
Nature, and God is nature.
Okay, God. Okay.
Nature will do whatever it needs to survive.
The idea of religion.
Hold on. Religion is.
I just had a question because nature is the driver. I have to go to the bathroom. If I pull my pants down and piss right here in the middle of the floor, that's nature.
That's
nature.
Religion. No.
That's driving. Nature goes wherever you want.
Who you have sex with?
Having sex with
who you have
you want.
Hold on. Religion is doctrinated. I don't need a book.
It's a philosophy.
I don't need a book in order to know what's right or wrong.
Yeah, you do.
No, I don't. You do. No, I don't.
Because you have to. Yeah, you have to have something telling you what is right or wrong. So where else do you figure out that something's nature? Like
in nature.
Well, they can say it's very natural. It's a whole. It's a whole.
But that's not how people. That's not how animals.
We're not animals.
We're not animals.
I didn't finish my statement.
I gotta go to the bathroom right now.
That's not how animals procreate.
That's natural.
That's not how animals.
You guys can learn from it.
That's not how animals procreate. That's not how. I have 3 children. Actually, more than any of y'all. That's not how. Okay, well you knew, so but typically I wouldn't have more than y'all. That's not how animals and how people procreate. That's nature.
All right, well we'll end it on there. Again, and why do you actually have one more question? And nobody's talking about.
Can we pass
on?
No.
This is a
till we meet.
What I do want to ask though, I do have a question because you said what's the end goal. So I want to know what type of society will we have where the end goal, or what is the end goal in society to legalizing prostitution? Is it just because individualization?
So many more issues.
Well, you just
first of all.
support it, so I want to give you adequate time to
But you
to
support
debate
gay
it.
people. So tell me the end goal of gay people.
How do I support gay people?
Because you said it's okay. Let everybody live and do whatever they want to
When
do.
did I say that?
Well, someone said it. I'm
I
sorry.
never in my
Somebody.
life
No,
somebody
I
that.
said if it were my rules, I would, but it's not my rules. We've decided as a society that we are a Judeo-Christian society.
But we're not-
and
Who
the rules
decided
says that we are.
Oh, no, we're
whether
not
you
a
like it or
theocracy.
not.
We are not a theocracy.
No, we're not a theocracy,
That's what I
but
say.
we
We're
have
not a theocracy.
Judeo-Christian
I just asked
values.
the question. What is
Okay.
the end goal to a society, or what is it? Because that's pushing individuality.
choice.
That's what you said. You mentioned, Shelley, that what is the end goal? We're talking about families and things like that. I just want to understand what is the end goal for supporting legalized prostitution for society. I just don't.
First of all, I'm not
no
even going to
end
answer this
goal.
prostitution thing again because I'm tired of beating this woman to death. Seriously, Jesus told her to go.
Well, the
horse.
pimp does.
But we
That's
wanna
what
beat
it's
her to
all
death.
part of
Horse.
legalized prostitution. They get
I'm
beat.
sick of beating this woman, but I will
So you
attempt to
must
answer
not
your
be sick
question
of
this
it.
way. I will attempt to answer your. You
They-
brought it up.
no,
I did.
but
you
you-
brought up the prostitution.
Well, I don't know how
because
you
were
sick
piggybacking
of it, 'cause
off what
pimps
Yana
get
was
beat up
talking
the
about.
Yana didn't even say
You
that,
were-
first of
right,
all.
She didn't say that.
Right.
KJ said that. But nevertheless, what I've said before, and I think earlier, the end goal is to uproot, totally dismantle the institutions that keep our society, I guess I would say, structurally sound. So that can come from different aspects, many things, not just this woman having prostituted herself. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Woman, please just go and clean yourself up and get another condom and
It doesn't
go
stop
do your
there.
business somewhere
No, it
else.
doesn't stop.
It doesn't stop there, and
Apparently
that's
it
my
stops
issue
at
with
that.
It don't
it.
even make sense.
It doesn't stop there.
It don't even make sense.
It didn't
All
make sense
right.
how we got on this topic, but
It
okay.
does, because it's
No,
about
it
the
doesn't.
watering
Not the
down
way- not
of
the-
it's about
Tolerating
tolerance.
too much.
I personally
It's
know
the top-
prostitutes, and it does not
It's
stop
right.
at death.
The topics, you look at no, I'm not going. The topic of tolerance within the conservative community. This is part of it.
Yes,
You do have,
that's why I
And
said
That's why-
prostitution is not a large topic in conservative circles.
It's not at all.
I
don't
really
think it's
believe.
at all.
At all.
I really believe going back to your
It is on the
original
show.
question about tolerance. These are the types of things is that we have conservatives that are in the party saying things that are completely opposite of what we agreed on, which was the Judeo-Christian founding father, and then they stray away a little bit and say, "Okay, marijuana's okay."
It is.
Oh, prostitution's
It's
okay.
natural.
How
And then
about-
it just kind of snowballs.
How about
Why wouldn't it?
conservatives not even pushing for marriage? So we
Yes.
have conservative women. I forgot what was her name, but she was speaking. She was and talking about her fiance having sex with her right before she went to give a speech.
Yeah.
And she's a conservative woman, and she was having like a prayer morning or something
We
like
got
that.
conservatives that
And-
shack up. So what?
So what are you trying to conserve?
Yeah, that's what.
Well, she's supposed to
What
be.
the hell are we trying to
She's
conserve?
supposed to be a leader
What?
of a conservative, like, and she's talking
People-
about premarital relations something that we're not supposed to promote.
And so this is where, when it comes to the Democrats saying, "Oh, the conservatives, they're tight. They're they don't want to stretch outside of whatever they
They
believe in."
stretch too much.
This is where it's a problem because conservatives act higher than thou when you're having sex before marriage too. Like, don't judge somebody
But you're not supposed to be okay.
She's talking about
people are nobody's perfect,
Right.
but we're not supposed to be. But we're not supposed to be as leaders promoting something like that and speaking in public forum about things that.
But just do it behind the doors.
No, I'm not
Your
saying we
integrity,
should.
like, do it behind the doors and shack
absolutely
up.
not.
Yeah.
But the thing is that you making a step. That's an extra sin that you're committing.
Extra.
No,
Absolutely.
not even that. But I get what you're saying. She's
Yeah,
talking
right,
about
extra
sort of like,
sins.
for instance, you have this idea within churches, people in leadership within church. People, youth leadership and things like that. Having somebody who is unmarried but pregnant lead these different
Sit down. Go sit down.
fellowships. So,
Oh, yeah.
so she's saying similar to that. Yes, nobody is perfect, and we all do things that aren't best, but you don't want to be the example
That's
in
not the
leadership.
goal.
Yes.
That's
Okay.
not the goal
Let
of
me-
these
Let me
things.
talk about this prostituting lady again. I'm sorry, woman, to bring.
Oh,
her
you
back
bringing her up back
Yeah,
up?
I'm sorry.
Okay.
So just like as a conservative, I might not agree with a pregnant woman or in church leading a group or whatever, unmarried. I wouldn't do, but I wouldn't go to her and embarrass her
course not.
or try to whatever you call it, him or I wouldn't do that
Nobody
either. Just like I would not do that to a prostituting woman.
Nobody
Even
said
if
that.
I-
No, we're
Nobody said
not
that.
saying we should embarrass
That's
them.
what you call tolerance.
In fact, and her leading something, okay, she's pregnant, but she's not talking about the relations. That's not her sermon. So I wouldn't have a problem with. But when a woman who's in the leadership position and she's literally talking about her sinful behavior as a normalcy, we're
Yeah,
normalizing
absolutely.
sinful behavior.
And that's the issue, is the normalizing of it that I just will not ever agree with. Yes, you're right. Conservatives or people in general, nobody is perfect. But you either believe that something is we're trying to preserve, which is family, which is health. There's a reason why
Relationships.
So why?
these
I'm gonna go back to
things
this
break
prostituting
down.
woman again.
Oh,
Why
you
is
keep
it that-
bringing her up.
I know,
You
I'm
can't
bringing
get
her
up off
I know,
of her,
you
can
started,
you?
I'm gonna have to finish it out.
Oh, we do have to finish it with
all
this.
Fine. So why is it that again? I'm going to talk about T and I with this prostitution example, right?
Yeah.
Because we support or advocate, whatever the word is, right? Because we support this, why is it that this is the only thing, if you will, we support the general conservative platform, but just because this one thing we don't agree with all of you, maybe not personally, we don't agree with all of you, so therefore we're helping to devalue.
We're gonna go to hell.
Yeah,
No, I didn't. No, I didn't say that. What I say is
We're going to
that
hell.
we
Go ahead.
keep
Agree.
moving the goalposts, and so yes, you say that, then you say prostitution okay. That's the reason why we have pornography problem, and I mean marriages are completely being torn apart because
people get whatever they do within their marriage and they don't hold it together for whatever reason. That's why.
it's an addiction.
What
Marriage
is?
wasn't it?
Pornography. She said
Pornography.
pornography.
Yes, that's why I said that. I mean, that's all.
But I'm
sex
saying, but
work.
it's still because of the two people involved for whatever reason.
It's
I'm not
entertainment.
Saying they get divorced. I'm just saying that's still the two people involved. That's their marriage. Whatever. That's how, if it's going to last or not. That's still within their marriage. Whatever they're doing or not doing. That doesn't mean that I am advocating for divorce or not being married or sharing.
You're,
That's not that.
you're
at all.
advocating for an unhealthy
I'm
lifestyle.
not advocating for pornography, but my point is that using the two people in their marriage, the marriage is dissolved because they choose to, for whatever reason.
Well, we're
justified or
not gonna get past this. We do have to move on. We're not going to get to equal ground on this.
Never.
But again,
Thanks for bringing it up, though.
Oh yeah. Well, it was within the topic. So we're talking about tolerance amongst conservatives. This is a prime example of it. How it leads to degradation and things.
That was
But
the only
or
thing she
debate.
come
I should say a debate. So we are at the end of our time. Thank you so much for watching. Please continue the conversation by commenting on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter. We will follow comments or check the comments. Again, this is Pop and Politics. We are live every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Please don't forget to hit that subscribe button and check us out again next week. Until then, count your blessings and live a life of purpose. Good night.